I also should probably be, paying a bit more attention to our chat log here. Oh, hey, not surrounded by water, but we also found it. I was just about to say that we're paying attention to our chat log to make sure that we see those portal messages when they pop up. But hey, if you want to do me a solid, I'll take it. Let's see here. It's going to be one of these, eh? So we're going to have to deal with arbalists and crossbow buddies on the outside of the castle here, which is a pain in the butt, but the flip side of it is if we're able to take them all out, we can always retreat much more easily than we otherwise might be able to. So we could use up a bunch of our poison darts, risking, of course, that we aren't able to finish this area at all and we have to leave all of them behind. So the flip side of that would be one of the, like, using rocks instead, because we don't mind if we have to leave those behind. In fact, rocks I am willing to risk for just taking out, not the Orc Warriors, what I was hoping for. I agree, Railbird. The Arbalest Bailey is definitely a rough one in every sense of the word. Fortunately, again, we can kind of take this slowly here. Ooh, unless they start getting smart about their pathing. That's not great. You weren't supposed to do that. Let's switch over to boomerangs. Oof, might have to retreat out of this if things go sour too quickly here. But alright, you we take out in relatively short order. Where's your friend? Oh, there's a teleport trap there. That's fun. Very fun. Very cool game. And that's how they're getting out, is the slight exit there. Not loving our odds here. But as long as we avoid letting them take the easy exits out, they might get 2 attacks per turn, so we have to be extra cautious with this current plan. In fact, let's get the heck out of there before that Orc Warrior pops around the corner. Perfect. Even just the standard Orc could take us out with an Arbalest, which is brutal. They only have 7 health, so it seems like a relatively minor thing to take them out, but unfortunately, they still hit like a truck. As a human fire elementalist, you usually use Inner Flame and try to explode them with their adjacent tiles, or adjacent allies. That's definitely, yeah, a solid strat. If we felt more confident, I would just use all of our poison darts, because that's how I've previously in the past dealt with Baileys that are too strong for my character, is definitely to apply liberal usage of our own ranged weaponry. I'm moving slowly here to make sure not too many of these bolts get through to us from this one Orc. Perfect. But using our own ranged weapons and just popping out anytime that the going got tough. In fact, I think I'm going to have to switch over to poison here. Oof. This is scarier than I gave it credit for. Fortunately, even a single stack of poison does a whole lot of damage on the standard Orc. But if an Orc Warrior shows up with an Arbalest, things get real dicey real fast. There you are, friend. We were just talking about you. Let's see, evasion 3. We have 53% chance to hit. I should be able to take out 1, but I would like to bring you back with us so that I can just leave if things go horribly wrong. I think I have to. Could, of course, use a combination of nets, maybe wands, stuff like that. Get a little fancy with it. Am I feeling that desperate? They have 38 health, correct? Something like that. 28. So actually 2 ice blasts should do the trick. And 1 flame is still 2d5, right? It is indeed. I guess we haven't trained any evocations, so I don't know why I was asking myself that question. Well, so tempting to fight this out because could get really nice loot out of this. I love the stuff that you find in Bailey's, but 15 plus the Arbalest, and we can actually even just look right at an Arbalest right here, 18. So that's 33 damage as the the potential high end here. So we at least aren't immediately in danger of death here. And we could try something out. Could try and get a little bit creative here. For example, Wand of Flame has a 60% chance to hit. Not great. Our throwing nets have a 53% chance, which isn't great. But we only have to hit one, and then we're pretty likely to be able to take this bad boy out. So let's throw a net, hop forward, Ice Blast, and then I'm probably going to try and finish you off the old-fashioned way. Perfect. Did not get our net back, so they broke it right as we finished the fight there. Oof. Light helps in emergency to avoid the deep water. Definitely, and we're fast. We would be faster than them over water, I should say. Jeez, stumbling over my words a bit. And Railbird mentions polymorph, which we can see what they turn into. A goblin, a water moccasin, or a dart slug. Yeah, that's all better for me, actually. Heck yeah, okay, that was a good polymorph roll. Don't mind that whatsoever. Let's switch back to our poison for taking care of these regular orcs. Just one poison stack usually does the trick. If not, I guess we can always apply another. And polymorph should help us with any of the very scary arbalist buddies. But not all of them, just based on the chances of it working. Let's see again what this buddy would turn into, I guess, and what the options are. Like here, not quite as great. A scorpion should be able to take. A centaur, pretty much dealing with the same issues, only they're fast. Or a bogart. A bogart, as long as they don't summon in too many things, actually isn't too bad. And this is one that's still trapped behind the deep water, so we can retreat from this fight. I'm gonna try it out. Ooh. We get centaur, which I think is a better chance for us to hit with our poison. And slightly less health, if I'm thinking correctly. Slightly less, not a whole lot. But that's still much better. Now we can just stack up the poison. Perfect. So, of course, we get another one. And what do you turn into? Oh, a Tengu would be bad. But a wolf or a centaur, no problem. Hey. Never didn't have it, of course. As always. We do have to switch over to dealing with some of these bad boys, of course, as they start to crowd in. Ooh, and another orc warrior as well. Fun stuff. Let's just retreat out and try and heal up to full before they come find us here. And we can see how our luck holds out. Howler Monkey, Scorpion Weavern, all those are fine with me. Ooh, that's... losing too many coin flips in a row here. Oh my gosh, only 2 more chances. Let's change strats, shall we? I'm gonna Ice Blast, followed by an Ice Blast. And that should just about do it. Perfect. Holy moly, me oh my. Orc warrior with just a spear, that is more my speed to say the least. Same with wolf friend, not too bad. Waiting to open one of these and be scared out of our mind, of course. Oh gosh, what the heck, sir. Could do some door closing shenanigans here, or try and fight through this. 15 plus your glaive. Glaives are pretty high damage weapons too, so that's probably going to be around 30 or something. And you're dealing around 20 damage max. 30 and 20. Not fantastic. At least this buddy's in shallow shallow water, so they have a pretty decent odds to stumble in their attacks. The ranged weapon friend, not so much. So that's why I came into this hallway in the first place, not expecting to find, of course, another ranged friend at the bottom. Enemies are in water and you can abuse steam with the fire wand. This is indeed true, and in fact, I'm gonna launch one of those down this way. Pretty good odds to hit. Blocks our line of sight as well. And then I'm going to bring in a friend early on here. We're getting pretty close to one-hit range on ourselves, which is not great. But with our friend helping us out, we're able to take out the enemies pretty quickly as well. And the steam lasted just long enough in terms of protecting ourselves from lines of sight. And perfect. Poison should finish that buddy off. Slowly but surely, eking our way through this gosh darn Bailey. Again, any stronger enemies, I will probably lead out so that they're trapped in water. And Pyrrhic Bardiche. I picked it up, but I probably don't want to use that now that I think about it. Let's see. Manual of Fighting and 2 Scrolls of Enchant Armor. Meh. I guess Manual of Fighting is kind of nice, but this is a scary combination here. Especially as soon as these warriors get mited, they're going to start slapping on a whole bunch of damage. 67 health on you. We have 4 more Ice Blast charges, which I'd normally like to use against Hydras in Lair. But we could start running through the water. They're going to follow us. And again, much like Railbird so helpfully pointed out, in these huge hallways, we can very much use steam to our advantage. And try and drag our enemies through the clouds here. Because that's what's dealing more damage than the Flame Wands themselves. Because the Orc Knight shouldn't have too much trouble dealing with us, but fortunately, with those clouds on our side, sitting pretty to say the least. Let's just keep it up, waiting for that might to wear off. Let these buddies walk themselves to death. Running out of hallway space here, but it should be honestly just enough. And in fact, it does look like that's the case here. So we wait for the steam to clear. Oops, sorry. Stand in one accidentally instead. Whoops. Heck yeah, not too bad. Let's do a quick search on the ground, make sure we're not missing out on anything. Should probably actually change over to chainmail. I bet we left some nicer armor sitting out somewhere as well. Plate mail or something. But gladly do that, and that manual fighting will come in handy here. And just cranking up that score here real quick. In fact, I'm going to limit it. Let's go with 11. Normally I'd go with 10, but it'll train up extremely quickly with that extra aptitude boost, so that is fantastic. And, oh, poison resistance. Dang it, I got excited with the cloak, but still 1 AC, so we'll still put it on, of course. And it does match our boots, at least. There is that. That very important tidbit. So we can hopefully tab our way through most of the other enemy packs that we find here, especially after the difficulty that we face there. Alroka is rough, though, mostly for that 43% chance to banish us. That is not fun. And so, let's just retreat our way back a bit. Ribbit will, of course, be following right on our tails, unfortunately. Not much we can do here. Please don't banish me. She's at least taking all of her turns to step towards us, much like we are taking a turn to step away. Okay. Okay. Apparently it's the floor of uniques. There's just a whole array of them down here. But Psyche is a mage, which means they are vulnerable to one of my favorite tricks here, which is nets. Ooh, never mind. They are great at dodging. So no net game for us, but See Invisible will at least help us finish this off as long as we don't get any bad chaos effects from her daggers, what I was going to say, but instead, she turned us invisible, which is pretty sweet. And a Robe of Willpower is interesting. Would get us into a slightly more favorable position fighting Alroka, though still not quite as good as I would like it in terms of banishment odds. And I'm just going to be very cautious with our auto-explore here. Make sure to stop us before we get too far. Because again, we do not want to find ourselves on the wrong side of Alroka here. Especially if we turn a corner and she's right next to us. No good. And in fact, it's getting pretty close in terms of overall coverage of the floor. exploration-wise, getting pretty close to just going downstairs. My thoughts get interrupted, of course, by yet another unique. Really wasn't kidding. It's apparently an entire floor full of the Sons of Guns. But this lady can slow and confuse us, which sucks. Venom Bolt, huge amounts of damage on its own, but otherwise not too bad. And Force Lance is a pain in the butt for separating us in combat. Welp. Doing a quick glance through my inventory as to solutions here. So we can probably take out Erica. Just very scary. We just have to do it fast. Again, ideally using something like nets. Wait, what is your evasion? Evasion is higher than I'd like, of course. Only 57% chance to hit with said nets. And every time she force lances us away, kind of trips us up. But we can get lucky with one net. Try and deal some early damage. Let's try for another net as well. Perfect. This one did not break as well. Whew. Very nice. I might even temporarily here carry around the Flaming Scimitar. If we find a Hydra, oftentimes it's nicer to deal with them using a flaming weapon, because that way, even if we're dealing less damage with an untrained weapon and attacking slowly, we're at least reducing their damage potential each turn as well. And let's be very careful that we don't come across Oroka here. I am happy to pick up a Curari Dart. That's nice on its own. But then I'd like to go out this way before we hit Auto Explore. Maybe do some manual work for a little bit, to say the least. And we finally find ourselves with another Identify scroll. Teleportation, do I need more? I have 5 of them, so we should be in an okay spot there. Ice Blast, only 2 charges, but it's pretty cheap, so I will actually spend the money on that son of a gun. And I guess that's that. Not a whole lot out of that shop, but can't complain. We take whatever we can get when we find a store in the middle of the monster-ridden dungeon, don't we? Can't really judge anyone for not wanting to set up shop. I'm sure it's a bit of a dangerous gig, to say the least here. And that is pretty much enough of the floor that I'm going to give it a little bit of a break here. Save myself from running into Oroka. And instead, let's just continue exploring on our own time, shall we? Perfect. We even get the access to major destruction here, which we don't use too much, or at least I don't use too much, I should say, but is not horrible in its own right. So that should be okay here. Ooh. Little breaths each time we get through one of these encounters. Not fantastic. I should also switch off from my Scene Visible back to Strength. Maybe drop one of my resistance to cold rings. And we should definitely use some ID scrolls. That's 1, and let's see what else we have here. We have Isihua Sied, Kekzoem Mug, or Zirchu Niang for our scrolls. I like Virtue Niang. Let's check it out. Scroll of Fear. Happy to identify those relatively early on here. Might just save our lives. And I definitely want to drag these yaks back to a hallway. Fortunately, they aren't faster than us, except when they random energy, of course. You son of a gun. Proving me wrong here. And otherwise, we can take these buddies out without too much pain. Closing the doors on the centaur's face, always a preferred method of engagement, of course. And this may just be our entrance to Orc. Interesting. I'd love it if the priest came towards us. Dang it. I say as they switch places. You son of a... Dungeon is listening to me as always. It's the secret mic pickup portion of the game. It's not known, but if you complain too much, your mic picks up all your complaints and the DCSS dungeon will punish you for it. I'm sure it's not just anecdotal. It's got to be a real thing, right? Voice recognition, but Otherwise, going okay here, all things considered. Let's again back up as we start to get swarmed, trying to poison them as they approach us. And slowly but surely, making some headway here. Elephant is a tough enemy, but if we're able to get that much poison on them as they approach, then I have no problem taking them on here. And Josephine shouldn't be too bad for us either. Usually, worst part about fighting her is the amount of negative energy being thrown your way, but alas, we are undead, so we do not care about such things. Also, how dare you? Didn't realize you had poison. That's not fun. Or not poison, rather, but Ice Blast is the one that I was meaning to mention. So I'd like to take care of this buddy from range so that we can potentially recover as many of those charges as we can. And that should be just about it, besides, of course, the Manticore. Fun stuff. Okay, not too shabby here. Things are rougher than I otherwise might have liked, but at the end of the day, we're managing to take care of all the threats that we've faced so far. That's much better than how much we had to retreat on our last attempt here. Let's just poison the bear enough that they will finish themselves off. I hope. Is that not enough poison? Oh no, I think there was, and I just wasn't paying attention. Perfect. We get both our entrance to Orc and our entrance to Lair on the same floor. Not too bad. We at least have answers for where we would like to go after this. And hello, Sonya. Some more Curari darts if we can manage to swing this. Of course, we do have to take care of Sonya, who's a bit of a pain in her own right. I will immediately resort to Ice Blast because she does have really high dodging, so it's nice to get some guaranteed damage on her. And then let's back up into the hall so we're not dealing with all these bees at once. Bees alone, not a big deal. Sonya, kind of a big deal. Good chance to evade our claws, of course. Don't have too much more unavoidable damage, so I think we will just slash into her. I'm thanking my lucky stars, of course, that she did not spawn in with a distortion weapon. That's where Sonya is a true pain in the butt. And in fact, just being poison immune helps a great deal with dealing with her Curari darts, because that would be another thing that might otherwise be a huge bane to our continued survival, as it were. Instead, we can just happily take on all of these. I'm super down to just face packs of bees for the rest of our lives. I guess swarms is what most people would call those. We're using English words here. They don't travel in packs, they travel in swarms. Mosquitoes, I never know how I face against these bad boys, but apparently just fine, as long as we can narrow them down to 1 versus 1, and not too bad whatsoever here. Managed to make our way back to Lair, at least. And it does look like we have a half-decent number of solutions to Hydras, which is the other kind of crucial thing here. Not as much AC as I'd like. Did I miss some plate armor? I did indeed. Perfect. Well, let's definitely grab that. Can change over immediately here. And let's actually check out our skills. It's been a little bit since we checked them out. And, what do we wish? Maybe turn off unarmed combat for the time being. And we'll switch that out for turning on armor and throwing. Have both of those slowly upping themselves in the background. Fighting is about to hit our target, and then it will turn off for a little bit at least, which is not too shabby here. And so, let's see, we could peek into Lair, or we could try a couple more floors of the dungeon. I wouldn't mind maybe doing 2 more floors of the dungeon. We can dip our toes in, see what we're dealing with. I'm of course expecting just an 8-headed Hydra to pop out of the woodwork here, immediately make me regret all of my decisions. Bring a positive energy, don't need that whatsoever, but tremor stones we do want. Didn't even notice the rat. I thought that our inventory was full, but we're not even close to a full inventory, silly old me. Let's take all these monsters up to a stairway though, where we can face them at our own speed here. Perfect. And slowly but surely, we can gain a foothold into our lair entrance here. And it is already much better than it otherwise might have turned out. Even just the fact that we can bring them all upstairs into a nearby hallway very much simplifies the whole ordeal here. And not too shabby. And no 8-headed hydras yet, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm expecting it, game. Any day now. Put myself into a dead end against Yax. And this is where I'm going to get immediately punished by said Hydra coming around the corner. But as long as I constantly mention all the unfortunate things that could happen to us, they're that much less likely to happen. Right? That's how probabilities work. They totally are affected and changed by our words as well. Apparently everything in life is voice command according to my worldview here. Let's see, Joseph shouldn't be too bad on a decent shielding character. Let's just soften him up and actually back ourselves into... Oh wait, that's a bad corner. I was going to say back ourselves into a corner where they have to come in and fight us one-on-one in fisticuffs. Unfortunately, they could have kept slinging at us if we hadn't blocked the route with instead an ice drake. Is that what those buddies are called? Something like that. Not too bad here. Can maybe fight snakes until... I was hoping until the berserk wore off, but got unfortunate with the mix-up there. Sure, it's like the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Exactly. Yeah, by trying to quantify it and observe it, we are, in fact, changing the underlying probabilities. Let's actually get rid of our sling, since I am starting to train throwing now, so there's no longer quite as much of an impetus to keep that bad boy around. And stop picking up slings, stop picking up stone. Perfect. And just keep her moving here, and there we go, our first Hydra. Knew you'd come eventually, friend. This one is actually in a pretty decent spot for us to test out our efficacy, because if that went poorly, we could just take a couple steps up and drop them straight into the pit, which would have been absolutely fantastic. But no need, and we can instead just keep her going here. Save that pit for maybe the 8-headed Hydra that's around the next corner. Maybe, just maybe. Doing a quick check on my scrolls. There have been very few identify scrolls thus far in the game, so we haven't had too many opportunities to figure out what all we have at our disposal here. And in fact, we have so many potions that I'd like to know what they did. Be nice, you know? But it is what it is, of course, as with all things in life. Let's try and cheat the system here. Dumb animals don't know to walk around the corner, so that works out in my books. We can instead just take them on mostly one by one till the end at the very least. Perfect. And I probably should actually be using my poison darts on most of these enemies here. It's a little bit more of a pain to switch back and forth, but specifically elephants, it'd be nice to be softening them up and have them continually taking damage throughout the course of our fight. And it's our first dragon. A little bit scary, especially surrounded by blink frogs. So let's maybe work our way into a corridor so that they're slightly less likely to gang up on us like that, and not too bad. Fortunately, this is what happens when we tab too fast. Walk towards the 7-headed Hydra. All I was going to say there was that fortunately we had a immunity to poison. That's the one. Immediately stalling as I just go into full panic mode at the Hydra blink frog combo here. But we were able to use that to our full advantage there. Make sure that we're never in too scary of a situation. And now what I want to do is line up for another Hydra test. If things go south, we drop them into the hole. If the blink frog goes down the hole, I'm very unhappy. But that's not going to happen, so we're fine. Last but not least, I think I will try and soften up the Hydra with one Ice Blast. Then we can start slashing. Okay, it's closer than I would otherwise like. But once the Hydra is low enough, we're going to hit them with unavoidable damage. And, wow, almost die because of it. Low roll there, unfortunately. But Blink Frog cannot kill us very easily here. So, oh, it sucks. The Hydra's so close to dead. Oh my gosh, they didn't get shafted either. Oh no, that's not good. Well, before they heal up too much. Oh me, oh my. So let's see. We could go for a healing potion and hope that we get low rolls on most of the Hydra hits. Not horrible. Otherwise, we go for one more blast of our Ice Blast Wand. Dang it, used the same word twice. One more go with our Ice Blast Wand and see if we can't get a slightly better roll. Unfortunately, I've wasted a couple turns stepping away, and that does mean that we have allowed the Hydra to heal up slightly from how low they might have been from that last one. Still half decent odds that we blast them out of the skies. There's always the chance we lose out. On the damage, with a low roll, it only does 3, correct? Indeed it does. And that's not great. A Fierce Scroll has okay odds of making the Hydra run away, but they have slightly more willpower than your average monster, so there is a chance that they resist it, and we die. Healing Potion should work out. We have decent AC. I'm going to go with one Healing Potion, actually, and see how we do. Exactly break even. Okay. I'm going to do one more heal. Hope that we roll slightly better. Indeed we did. But I don't actually know how much we're healing for because it all happens in a single turn. So maybe that was a bit of a waste there, unfortunately. Instead, Tin of Tremor Stones is also undodgeable, hits both these bad boys. I don't know how the damage on those actually works out though. Especially since we do not have evocations training. We do not indeed have evocations training. So I think I'm going to go for one more Ice Blast. Perfect, we do get the kill on the Hydra. Oh my gosh. Way more stress than I was wanting to put into this so far, or at this stage in the game. But oh boy. So we did in fact, unfortunately, waste 2 heal wounds potions, just complete waste. But at the end of the day, we're alive, and that's all that really matters here. For me at least. Stupidity is a constant thing that I have to deal with my entire life. Staying alive is a case-by-case basis. So we just do our best. Okay, let's try and dance back and forth across this threshold here and try and make sure that we never get too surrounded. In fact, works out just nicely. That's an expression, right? Just nicely. It's not like I just mixed up my words and said something stupid. Couldn't be. Holy crap, another condenser vein in early lair. We're already seeing repayment for throwing away the last run here. Oh, and of course undead, because we're undead, not alive. Indeed. And we're still undead. Not re-dead. Undead. So that's good. Being re-dead is real bad. Everyone knows this. It is known. Perfect. Not too shabby here as we continue to make our way through. I dropped our Datura darts. Didn't really want to hold on to those bad boys anymore. Let's see. How are we doing for training? Fighting did hit that cap, of course. Shields is slowly but surely making it up to the requisite 15, which I think is the requisite here. We're normal sized, right? Indeed. What else? Armor, I think I do want to keep training. Invocations, on the other hand. Never mind. On the same hand, we also want to keep training because we're not quite down to low hostility rate on our Greater Servant. And that's not something you want on your panic button. The chance that it makes the situation worse instead of better, not fantastic at least. So we'll try to avoid that if possible. And we can see that we're still taking 1.2 turns to throw our boomerangs, so it's not quite a high enough skill level in throwing to fully make use of that. Let's get out of sight of that spatial dislocation trap before something horrible happens. That'd be nice. And does this mean we have shoals, or are you just hanging out here, buddy? Because I wouldn't mind shoals. It's a nice little place to gain a whole bunch of throwing consumables, which is what we'll be looking for this run. Since we did not follow Okawaru this time, we will not be gifted those. We instead have to do it the old-fashioned way. So sheer RNG and loot. But here's a beautiful place to fight blink frogs, no matter where they go around us. Maximum of 2 will surround, which is what you want to see for sure. And if we have shoals and snake, that's awesome. Snake, of course, is quite a nice branch for us with our poison immunity, and having both humanoid branches means higher likelihood for sweet, sweet shops, which is exactly what I'm hoping for in each and every game, to try and fill out some of the weaknesses that we might have by that stage in the game. But we'll see how she goes, of course. And I probably shouldn't hold down tab quite so judiciously in Lair. It seems like whenever I'm in stream, I just cannot pronounce any words that combine 2 suffixes. Specifically, I guess any suffix combined with the ly suffix. No chances. Just throw it out the window. I'm gonna just make myself sound silly, slurring my words instead of saying anything properly. 6-headed Hydra, much better off this time around. Definitely slowly but surely getting somewhere in terms of our overall strength here. Let's bring these buddies back into a bit of a corridor. Perfect. I need to do like vocal warm-ups or tongue twisters before I get on stream. Maybe then I could actually pronounce the words that I try to say. Okay, let's finish this bad boy off the only way we know how. Nice blast right to the face. Love to see it. Red leather, yellow leather. Why even do them before? Why not just do them midstream here, right? Trying to think of how many I've known offhand, because I've never done anything in my life that's actually required me to do vocal exercises. But just through TV shows and movies and the like, I feel like I should know a couple. Unique, New York, definitely one. Red leather, yellow leather. Irish wristwatch. Is that more of a tongue twister than a vocal exercise though? I think so. Of course, I can say them when I put in the effort. It's when I get caught on surprise where I think I'm going to say a word just fine, and I just try and riff it out there. That's when I immediately faceplant, of course. As to be expected. Holy crap, finding all the unidentified scrolls now, are we game? Well, what do I drop? Acrobat Amulet, not necessarily super helpful for us, but not horrible. So I'll leave it on for now, just in case we find ourselves running away from a problem and really crossing our fingers that we're dodging, you know, the occasional hit. It does help, I guess, in areas like Lair, where a lot of monsters are faster than you, because as you run away from a fight to try and get to more favorable ground, you are that much more likely to be dodging the occasional attack that gets through because of that extra speed. Also, elephants. How confident am I that I can take all of you on? Because if I'm supremely confident, I should go back into my cubbyhole here. Otherwise, do we have any other good... There are no hallways, which is where you want to fight an elephant, because a single gap space like this doesn't quite work out, because they will just push you out of it and then start swarming like they do. But if I am willing to risk it, this puts us in a pretty favorable position to just slowly but surely take out the entire pack. Herd? What's a group of elephants? Not a murder, not a swarm. Probably a herd, right? That would make sense. So we continue to slowly but surely identify our way through our scroll supplies here. And actually, I keep trying to decide on what to dump. I should drop my scrolls of amnesia. I don't need that yet. How many unidentified consumables do we have, sir? Far too many is the answer. Let's see. Quick count leaves us at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We could start quaff IDing. Oh, there we go. Finally another ID scroll right as we start talking about it. And in fact, we may end up having to start quaff IDing, especially with some of these higher stacks. I mean, I'm guessing that one of the 6 or 4 stack potions One of them is degeneration, if I had to guess. Which means it might be nice to get a few more identifies in before we start just chugging left and right here. But so far the game has not been handing those out to us. I'm also actually curious if we are guaranteed now to have a scroll of acquirement. Because we have 4 unidentified scrolls. And how many total? Oh, not even close. We still only have half of the remaining scrolls of the dungeon in our inventory. Huh. Good to know. A parade of elephants, but herd is correct too. Good to know. And I didn't know that herd was actually also correct. I always assumed that people just used it incorrectly. That's fascinating. But thank you for settling the internal debate in my head. I like to use the correct nomenclature when referring to things, if possible at least. Oof. Okay, Basilisk is a bit of a pain in the butt here. I guess we can at the very least retreat back. Do we have any good corridors? You're an okay corridor, but of course our backside's completely exposed to the dark void of the unknown, which is not great. Not fantastic in my books. Alternatively, we could try and lead some of you to a stair, but if I start getting petrified, well, they tried. What are the chances? 35%, that's not great. Okay, now I can at least make it to the stairs. As soon as we're a few steps away, we'd be slowed by the petrification process, but we at least would not be completely doomed by it. Also, holy crap, even a single death yak is too much for us to handle, eh? I thought I'd be fine fighting one of you. Jeez Louise. 77 health is a lot, but let's bring in a minor servant to help us out, and then we can use our amulet of acrobat. Oh my gosh, they got a gosh darn extra energy towards us. That's not okay, game. Means they should lose out on one right away then, right? That's how that works normally. Gosh darn it. So, could use our 1 fear scroll. Oh, never mind. That's not great odds of working, now that I look at this. So instead, we're probably better off with heal wounds. Hopefully this time, gaining some ground. But I think I want to be at least 2 hits away from death. I'm a little bit scared otherwise. Hey. Oh, I almost died by stepping into my own spawn steam. That would have been embarrassing. But hey, they took care of the problem for us, so that's nice. Almost killed us afterwards, of course, but hey. They do what they can. Now, I need to be extremely cautious in how we handle the rest of this extremely brutal group of enemies. Oh my gosh, more death yaks. I'm out of meme names, don't die. Yeah, you've put us into a corner, which is exactly where I like to be. Because that way, maybe my brain can reacclimate itself and actually do a little bit better in playing consistently here. And in fact, I think what it will do here is take a brief break from Lair. I'm not liking all those yaks. I expected us to fare better against them, if I'm being honest. So let us instead maybe dip our toes into Orc, see how it goes. If it's not great, we have more floors of the dungeon to explore as well. So we have many options at our disposal. There's no need to try and brute force our way into something stupid. Let's see. This hallway would be nice if we could eventually make our way there. What else? Otherwise, I don't love being surrounded like this, and I especially don't love that we have an Orc Sorcerer right off the bat as we pop down here. Bolt of Fire is going to deal a lot of damage. Paralyze is pretty much a death sentence when we're completely surrounded by enemies like this. I wanted to take one turn, let a few more step up to us so we could take a bigger group upstairs, but it's not great. Because we are in range of that paralysis. So do you know what? No, we'll be back. We'll be right back. And instead, let's just go to the dungeon, shall we? Maybe, just maybe, we'll find slightly more amiable conditions out in the wide world here. And let's immediately use a mix of Curare and Poison in order to make this fight slightly better right off the start here. Not too bad. Manticores get poisoned out the wazoo, and that should be fine. Worked out well for us last time at least. Maybe even switch to boomerangs here at the end. Perfect. Oh, hello. Yet another Manticore. It's actually not too bad for us though. Don't mind whatsoever. And let's make sure to take these buddies back into a slightly more favorable position once more. Not too bad. Again, we've made promises now to not die, so don't have much of a choice here. Have to just not die. Sorry, wait, are you resistant to poison? You are. My bad. Oh, me oh my. What a great start to the whole staying alive plan, eh? But that's fine. A couple ice blasts should clear the problem from our plate here at the very least.